So Tesla's pretty much all but confirmed that the more affordable model, which is a D-featured Model Y, is launching tomorrow, or at least being unveiled tomorrow on October 7th. Usually Tesla events are in the evening, so I don't expect this to drop super early in the morning, but so much of this vehicle has already leaked, except for what in my opinion is the most important spec, and that's the price point. You know, we've seen people around Giga Texas driving it around already. Looks like they drop the light bar on the front and back and drop kind of the lower intake vents that are on the refreshed Juniper Model Y. I got to admit though, I've showed it to quite a few people and a lot of them actually like it, including my wife. If you remember back when we first looked at the refreshed Model Y in person. Louise, what do you think as a Model Y fan? How do you feel about the exterior after seeing it in person?
Unimpressed. I like the Refresh 3 design better. I wish they would have just made a slightly bigger version of that.
You like the headlight of the 3, the taillight?
It just looks more like sports car, you know, and this looks like
There's
a
a good-
Walter White box car.
What's that? The Pontiac Aztec? That's a good looking car, huh?
Yeah, make a Y that looks like that.
Okay. She really wanted a Model Y that looked more like the Highland Model 3. We both really appreciated the refreshed design. She just wanted a higher off the ground hatchback. So in a sense, they're kind of catering more towards my wife with this cheaper Model Y, but there's a lot of other compromises, especially on the interior, that are supposed to come along with this updated design, including a worse sound system, no more ventilated seats, no more rear mounted display, probably no more ambient lighting, and possibly no HEPA filter. Although ditching the glass roof in favor of a traditional cloth roof, I think a lot of people might actually be okay with, because it means the cabin doesn't get as hot as easily. And the good news is, knowing Tesla is all about being the robo-taxi business, I think it's still going to have all of the hardware necessary for FSD, and it will probably still have the latest hardware, like a bumper camera and like the AI4 self-driving computer. So if all you care about is an affordable new car from Tesla that still has FSD capability, this should have you covered. But depending on how much they cut, I think a lot of us are concerned this could be another Cybertruck rear-wheel drive situation where they just take way too much out and don't reduce the price enough. And the big question is this model going to end up becoming a decoy model, which basically means you have a lower price to get people on the website. Like, you can say technically that the Model Y starts at, you know, $35,000 or $40,000, whatever it ends up costing, but then you get on the website and find out that, hey, it's actually only $5,000 more to get a way better sound system, way better seats, way better range, way better charging characteristics, and all these advantages that come along with just a normal Model Y. Then everyone goes, well, for $5,000 more, I might as well just buy that one. I hope that's not what this ends up being. The fact that Tesla is actually willing to put out teaser images and set a date on it like this gives me hope that maybe there's a little more to it than we realize. You know, keep in mind, Tesla didn't really hype up with like a daily countdown the refreshed Model 3 or the refreshed Model Y. We just woke up one day and there it was. So it's kind of interesting to me that they would hype up the launch of this vehicle, even though it's supposed to be just like, hey, we took out a bunch of features. Now it's the cheapest Model Y we've ever made. Like, do you want to draw a lot of attention to that? Do you want to hype people up for that? Or is this meant to just be like, okay, the tax credit's gone, but we still care about affordability, so there you go. But I think there's a lot of tricks Tesla could pull to hopefully surprise us with the price. $35,000 would be pretty good. $30,000 would be amazing, but still nowhere near those original promises we got at Tesla Battery Day 5 years ago, where they said they were going to make a $25,000 car. But I don't completely see that as outside the realm of possibility because of everything they've rumored to take out from this model. There was leaked code referencing having like a essential audio package, like 2 different audio systems, and one of them would be extremely bare bones. There's even talk of taking out like traditional tire pressure monitoring systems, which is not a very expensive thing, or, you know, taking out the powered lift gate. So there's all kinds of cost cutting that they've been rumored to apply to this vehicle, which if they were hitting an extremely low price point, I think could be justified. But keep in mind, all of those basic things like switching to textile seats or removing the heater from the rear camera, that sounds like, oh, they're taking out thousands of dollars worth of equipment. equipment, in actuality, a lot of those interior things, they're saving like a couple $100, especially if you know what they're paying at scale for a lot of those components. Where most of the cost savings, I think, is going to come from is the battery pack and the powertrain. We've known Tesla for a while now has been working on a super affordable motor with no rare earth materials. They've said they want to use that in the Cybercab, and for many quarters they said they're more affordable models, which are launching in the first half of 2025, or sorry, starting production. Meanwhile, it's October and we still haven't seen it yet, at least officially, but they said those more affordable models would incorporate aspects of their next generation vehicle platform. So because I don't think this is going to be a full-out Cybercab, I do think there's a chance they could have a smaller, cheaper motor that's maybe not very fast, but just substantially cheaper to make. Like maybe it's rear-wheel drive only, but it's an induction motor perhaps, which would not be great for acceleration, but probably would be good for affordability. But the other big cost saver, of course, is the battery pack. And for a while now, Tesla's been building up their lithium refinery just a couple hours away from Giga Texas, which is where the first more affordable Model Y has been spotted. And they've been scaling up production of the 4680 batteries, mostly for the Cybertruck, to try to make that more affordable. Hasn't really paid off all that well because Cybertruck still needs a massive battery pack. But we've seen Tesla in the past use 4680 cells in a structural manner on the Model Y. They just happened to put it in an all-wheel drive model, and that was during 2022, during the supply chain crisis. That was not a very good deal of a car, in my opinion. It was like $60,000 and it didn't have great range. Now I think with the local lithium refinery and with the higher volume 4680 cells in place, they could probably put a fairly small battery pack in the Model Y for dirt cheap. And with this updated design language that maybe looks a little more simple, a little bit more elegant, my hope is that similar to the Model 3, removing those air intakes on the bottom, they get a little bit better efficiency out of that battery pack. So my thought is, if it's a 4680 cell, that reduces part count, that reduces complexity, that's also structural. Even if it's like a 55 kilowatt hour battery pack, if they can get that car over 4 miles per kilowatt hour, which we've seen them do with the existing refreshed Model Y, you could still have over 250 miles of range. And the 4680s have been known for having fairly little degradation, so fairly decent cycle life, and you keep the overall weight of the vehicle down, which in return increases efficiency. So personally, I don't think they're targeting a 300 plus mile range with this model, or at least I hope they don't. I would rather them focus on making an extremely affordable vehicle, and if the goal is just making it 30K to 25K, then a lot of people would probably be fine with 260 or 270 miles of range. And if you're willing to spend, 10 grand more, then you can find a much better Model Y with well over 300 miles of range. But if the goal with this model is to take out as much as possible, just include the essentials and get the price as low as possible, you're gonna save way more money on a smaller battery pack than you can from, dropping the rear mounted display for the backseat passengers or having a slightly worse suspension system. All those things are just gonna be a couple $100 worth of savings, whereas the battery pack and the motor, that's where I think there's like thousands of dollars of things to remove. But how do you guys feel? Do you think from that earlier teaser image they also have to unveil the Roadster at this event, which would be kind of hilarious? There's just been so many times people think there's going to be a one more thing at a Tesla event, and then it never ends up happening, which is why I'm not getting my hopes up for any kind of Roadster demo, even though they've talked about doing that a million times. It would be pretty hilarious though to have like, here's our most affordable vehicle and here's our least affordable vehicle, and you show off like, look how cheap this Tesla can be, and then look how expensive this Tesla can be, and then they show it fly or do the crazy cold gas thrusters or something. I don't know. That little spinning fan that Tesla posted got a lot of people thinking that we have to see a Roadster demo before the end of the year, but I don't know. Roadster's been so mysterious over the past few years, it just isn't gonna feel real to me unless they actually do something with it. So hopefully I'm wrong. Feel free to make predictions down in the comments below, and thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. It seriously helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. Have an excellent rest of your day.